Hello, and welcome to today's session. I can't believe it's our final session. Just let me get all up here, and I'm going to get stuck in right away because we have lots to cover today. So, I hope you're enjoying what we've covered so far. I know yesterday was a very different style for me. Not for working in my world, but the way my masterclasses have been, that was a very different way of delivering a masterclass, I feel, which, makes me so excited. But today, again, is something that I have never talked about in a masterclass. It is a brand new training, and it has come from working with hundreds of coaches, mentors, online business owners who are creating against their grain. And I've devised these 4 content codes that is going to help you leverage your unique style of creating content. So you'll hear people talk about signature series. So that is usually when you pick a topic that you repeat over and over again and you become known for that thing. This is not what this is. This is like the step before it. This is how we're delivering the content. Let me know in the chat about do you know the essence of your content, like how you want people to feel when they're watching your content. Because when we tap back to how we want people to feel, we can then analyze our content and be like, well, am I giving that? A lot of people say, I want to inspire people, and then I'm like, are you putting out content that's inspiring? I want people to feel like anything is possible. Are you showing them through your content that anything is possible? So really, I want everyone leaving this room a different person, because it's in your content, but it's buried. And we're going to find out what that thing is, and we're going to pull it forward through this training today. So this, like I said, the strategy is important, but this right here is not a 3-step framework. It's not a template. It's not a content hack for the algorithm. It's really pulling out the right way for you to deliver. It's not about the right way to make a reel. It's the right way for you, because of the person you are, on how we should be delivering that content. Now, when we go through the codes, you might be like, oh, I kind of see myself in all 4. It's like love languages. If you've heard of love languages, you are predominantly one with a mixture of others. So we want to find out what that dominant style is. And we're going to lean into that so you can express yourself differently to other people. So up to now, over day 1, we got really clear on what Thrive Zone messaging is. We talked about it's about who you are, who they are, and your unique zone of genius. And tying those 3 things together is what I call Thrive Zone messaging. And it's something that I absolutely love. Every call with my client is we tap into messaging one way or another and really focusing on how to bring that Thrive Zone. One of my clients on a one-to-one yesterday was like, you activated my voice, you helped me find my voice, and then how to turn that into content. So that's like coming down to the who you are, turning it into content is who they are, and then turning it from your offers into your sales. How we're making sales through this is how you help people, and it's just a beautiful combination that I'm obsessed with. And then yesterday we looked at unblocking your creativity and what you'll be known for. And I really hope, that if you watched it on the replay, that you allowed the space for that to happen, because I feel that this is the thing that people, I know, well, let me start that sentence again. I know for me personally, I was constantly chasing next strategy, next piece of content, next goal, next sale, next client, next this, next that, and I didn't allow that space. And one of my clients now, we've been talking a lot about thought leadership, and we've come to realize that she's being too rigid in the strategy. And it's kind of a bit of an inspiration for this, is that yes, we take people through the buyer's journey, we use sales psychology, but when it comes to leadership, when it comes to scaling your business, people aren't just coming because of those things. They're coming because of your experience, of your methods, of your way of doing things. And I think when we don't create the space to let those ideas come to us, we can be focusing on the wrong things. During yesterday's creative activation session, one of the ladies, who's also a legacy client, she was like, when I think of standing on stage speaking about a topic, it's actually something that I haven't been leading with in my content. She came back to me with a full offer mapped out, ready to go. So excited, so aligned, found a missing gap through one call, one session, and we have these calls every month. So today we're looking at original content. Ever since I came into the online space, I've led with original content. I dip into a trend if it feels right or I want to have a bit of fun. There's nothing wrong with dipping into them, but I've always led with original content. I've always spoke to the camera. It doesn't always have to be faced like a speaking reel. Like this can be a carousel as well. It's original because you said it, and it's the way you're saying it. So what we're going to go through today is the mistakes that keep powerful women stuck in this recycled content. Even if you're getting results, this is the wild thing. The women that come into legacy are getting results. They have sales, they have clients, but they know there's so much more. They know they've only scratched the surface of what's like within them screaming to come out. We're going to talk about those 4 content codes, and we're going to do a little mini audit to identify where you might be playing small. You leave with a post that doesn't just sound good, that's positions you. So I wanted to just give something really tangible that you can go away and create content around, and then you can send it to me and I'm going to audit it. I'm going to help you with the message and I'm going to give you some feedback. So once you create the post, DM me and I will give feedback on it. I am also going to talk about next steps for legacy because I've introduced something new. So even if you had heard of legacy, it's going to be looking a little bit different. And then I have a secret free gift for everybody. Okay, yes. So Jenny is saying, yes, it gets lost in the graphics. Keep thinking it's the brand colors, but I know it's deeper than that. Yeah, because your brand isn't about the colors that you use, you know, it's so much more than that. It's about how the vibe of your space, and we want our content to be a reflection of what we're calling people into. So let's get stuck in. So a couple of red flags for original content. So you have an idea and then water it down to fit the template or the framework. And I have been guilty of this. I think we spoke about it. But I think this is one of the biggest killers of original content, where you're like, you know, I have this idea, let me make it into a problem awareness, and then you're following a template for problem awareness, even though you know what problem awareness content is inside out. Number 2, you focus on sounding smart instead of sounding like yourself. A sign for this is, chat, help me make this sound more, and then insert word like bold, polished, professional, clear, easier to understand. And that's when we become over polished in our content. And again, I have been guilty of this, and it was kind of bland then, you know. So we were saying yesterday, let's just get unhinged. Let's use June as the month of being unhinged. That's still telling me I have a message, but it's not. Number 3, scrolling for inspo, consuming more than you're creating, rushed energy. Now, I know a lot of people would have heard this before, but the thing is, as soon as you practice it, you will see the difference. Like I do all the time. I'll go through stages where like I'll fall back in the habit of scrolling, I'll fall back in the habit of waking up and consuming straight away, but I have muted quite a lot of accounts, not because they're not doing amazing things, especially if they're doing something similar to me. I used to find myself comparing. I used to be like, I wish I came up with that idea. Of course, I'm not going to come up with my own ideas if I'm looking at what other people is posting, and having that rushed energy of like, oh, I need to create something. I need to get it out. I haven't posted. I need to get something out. So again, creating that space for your own ideas to come true. And like I've heard this before and it didn't resonate until, like I said, I gave myself that space. Not sharing the micro wins or the lived proof. This is a huge thing, and we'll go into this a little bit deeper further in the training, but so many moments are happening with your clients. The conversations are right in front of you, like the conversations, even if they're not clients, in your DMs with your business friends, like share those experiences. But when it comes to clients, a lot of time people think, you know, they kind of wait for that big milestone, the big fancy screenshots that we're actually so bored of seeing. Like there's no context behind it. We want to share like the process and the smaller breakthroughs that people are having. Like it could, like for example, literally me talking about yesterday I ran the creative activation session and she came back an hour and a half later with a new offer mapped out that fits it perfectly into our product suite. that's a micro win. Like it is a big win, but like it wasn't like this is where she was before she came to the program, this is where she is after. It was in that moment, and I share that on my stories. I'm going to share more examples of that. This proven energy is like when we overpack carousels with so much inside. But even beyond that, even with the visuals of your content, constantly only using, brand photo shoot type of images, for example, it's okay that some of them are a bit rough and ready. Like, there's always this whole debate about having real covers, when you can add the text to it so your grid looks aesthetic. And I've gone through stages where I've tried it to see what happened. But actually I quite like that it's like, a bit more unedited. When you're trying to find the cover through a video and you're trying to find like a still part, and my facial expressions are always so like but I quite like when I see a feed that's just not just like perfect, and wait until it's perfect. If we look at how many drafts we have, again, something I'm guilty of doing. I don't even know if it's wait until it's perfect. So when I'm creating video content, I never just create one video. I kind of have this bit of a rule where I'll always create at least 2 videos, because I'm in the zone then. I get through them a lot quicker. So my TikTok drafts got up to like 150 drafts. Like that's ridiculous. So this last 2 weeks I have either posted or deleted. I think I'm down to probably about 30 now, which is really, really good. So yeah, it's not about waiting until it's perfect, especially on TikTok. TikTok isn't about curation, it's about documentation. We want to document your life going through it as a business owner. So you are definitely someone who's not short on ideas, and it's mostly about being short on permission. So these codes are something that I've come up with, and I just wanted to make it a bit more fun, a bit more, right, if I create these codes, people can identify them, and I'm going to show you what gap you might be missing then in your content. So code number 1 is the activator. So these are some signs that you are an activator creator. So your best ideas hit when you're just talking, just riffing off with your clients and your coaching, maybe when you're walking around the kitchen, dancing around, whatever it may be. You speak in punchy one-liners that stop people in their scroll. You care more about movement than aesthetics. Like the movement of what your content does. Like you want to move people and get them to feel something, rather than being about, let me make sure the real cover lines up perfectly. You write really fast when you're passionate, and you're like, oh, I can't get this out fast enough. And you're lit up by truth telling more so than trend hopping. So this is what you are. You're a natural leader. You're a sure action. You speak with conviction. But what could be missing from your content is the depth. So remember in day 1 of Center Stage, we talked about the zones of messaging. This sometimes, not for everybody, you could be leaning a bit heavy into that hype messaging, and sometimes we're missing a bit of depth, because I know the work that you do has that depth, but it might just not be showing up in your content. So here's some things you can do. Anchor every truth in a belief. So templates are killing your content, right? So that's the truth. That's bringing the fire. That's short, snappy, punchy. Templates are killing your content. Because, so when we add a bit of depth, your voice was never meant to fit inside someone else's strategy. So we're bringing the belief you have behind that punchy statement. And then number 2, then connect the dots to why it matters. So if you're saying something like more content isn't the answer, let's add on to that, because if you don't know how to say what you really want to say, 100 posts won't fix the disconnect. So we're going deeper into, we're getting more specific. These are just some examples that I pulled out to show you. You can definitely go deeper on it. So for every statement, every sentence needs to pack a punch and make sense and give reason why, connecting the dots to why it matters. And tell us when you lived through it. This is what's going to bring the depth, when you lived through it. I always feel when I'm working with activator type of people in their content, when they come to me like, I'm like, that's great, but I don't really know who you are. I'm not getting to see who you are as a person. I'm not getting to feel your energy. I'm just like, yeah, like the message is bold and it's great, but I actually just want to know more about who you are. So the before then, when it's still fiery, you don't need to prove yourself to sell. And then we can add on, I used to post 3 times a day, trying to sound like a leader and still felt like a beginner. And then you can go into that story more. So again, it's just bringing that depth forward. Number 2 then is the person who brings all the depth, who, creates from emotion, really just does. Like, I'm thinking of a client so clearly. So she shares the story behind the story. Like, there's so many layers to it. It's so lovely, it's so comforting to listen to and so emotive. There's no surface level posts, there's no forced hooks, it's quite poetic at times. You write best when you feel it in your body first. You've written content that made you cry. Surface level posts and forced hooks actually make you cringe. And like I said, you'll see yourself in a few different ones. And I remember before, like probably 2023, I was working with a coach, and she was like, because of my theatre background, and she was like, you need to bring more of that into it. And she was like saying I should do this role play type of content, and now I have suggested that for other people, but because that's part of who they are, it's not, actually wouldn't be right for me at all. So it's like, I've always had this like, how can I bring my theatrical background life into my content without it being that way, like that, not cheesy way, but it wouldn't feel like me. So yeah, so if you're resonating with this, you know exactly what I mean. And it's not to say that these things are wrong, like, these hooks that are probably a bit more cringe or a bit more fun or a bit more role playing, it's not that they're wrong, but it's just not your style, so we shouldn't be trying to do that. So you're a meaning maker. You hold mirrors for people to really see themselves. You make them feel seen, and actually what is so important about this is that you're giving them a voice to something they couldn't have named. They're still trying to figure out, like, I don't know why I'm feeling like this, and you're really helping them see that. But quite a lot of times, people with this depth creator style, not really showing them what the next step is, kind of forgetting to sell. You're so caught up in moving people that you forget to sell to people. So here's some things you can do. End with clarity and guide their next step. So instead of, this post was hard to write, but I know someone out there needed to hear it, let's add that in. If this, actually not even adding it in, we're going to try flip this on its head altogether. So this is an example of, you're a business strategist. If this landed because you're building something that matters, but your back end offers or content don't reflect that yet, I can help you change that. So we're just bringing it back to you being the solution. You're forgetting to include you as the solution because you're so focused on the depth of your message and how it's going to help them. So ending it with clarity to guide their next step. Turn your story into a message with meaning. I burned out last year. It was messy, it was painful, and I'm still healing. Now, a lot of people have like, yeah, that's specific, that's storytelling. That is so true, but we can go deeper. I burned out last year because I confused being available with being value. That's not happening again. Here's how I overcame it, and here's how I help other people overcome it too. Bringing them back to step 1, guiding them to their next step. Name the shift or the new belief they can take away. So I used to feel like I had to prove my worth in every post. Now I post because I trust what I say matters, even if no one claps. What would shift for you if you did the same? So name the shift. The shift was you moved whether people were clapping for you or not. Bringing it back to them then. What would shift if you did it the same way? So positioning yourself all the time. Okay. The next one, creative. So you are someone who creates from originality. You see the angles that no one else sees. You don't just share information, you're actually transforming it. You get content ideas mid-scroll, mid-walk, mid-conversations, like it's just coming at you all the time. And you've had people say to you like, oh, I've never really thought about it that way. You've given me like a new perspective, and you're actually reimagining the worlds. Like, there is no box, you know, trying to fit into the box. There actually is no box. And one of the biggest things is you've been trying to fit into this box this whole time to realize the box is invisible. Like, with the box that this online industry created that you don't want to be part of anymore. So you're a reframer. You find the story in everything and you surprise people with your perspective. But your grid doesn't reflect half of your brilliance. I feel like someone definitely needed to hear that. Your grid is not reflecting half of how good you are at what you do. So my advice to you is choose one idea and let that idea take the space. Let that idea be center stage, because we're always trying to add on. So instead of trying to make one post do everything, let one post do one thing really well. Find the through line of the post. So this is me. So like, I remember I'd be creating content, to be in the carousel, there'd be so many different things. There would actually be no through line. There would no be like, okay, well, this is the intention. Maybe I'm talking about messaging, and maybe it's like being original in your messaging. But then I'm starting to talk about strategy and I'm bringing a bit of this in. Now I need to be like, okay, the through line of this is original content. That is the basis of it. So even when I go to sell maybe on the final slides, I'm not saying come into Legacy Mastermind as a 6-month program. We talk about strategy, we talk about offers, we talk about all this. I want to connect the rest of the carousel to that final slide. So I'm selling it based on just that original content piece. I'm not bringing in all the different things that Legacy does. So that's how a content idea becomes a concept. So like, take tribe zone messaging again. That idea of having zones becomes a concept, and then the more I talk about it, that concept becomes my signature. People will know me for tribe zone messaging. Another example, I help people with buyer journey strategy, but instead of just saying buyer journey, I talk about impact content. And originality is part of that. So impact content, when I'm talking about it from that lens, it's my framework and it's my concept, where we want to move people through our original content, finding your voice and putting more of you out there. That is my method of how I get people to sell out their offers. So it's not just the buyer's journey. Like, it's not just strategy. It is strategy, but it's taught in my framework, in my way. And that concept then becomes a signature. Show your creative brain in action. I think this is so fun to do and so interesting for other people, because I feel like we all have skills that we take for granted. And maybe it's not creativity, it could be something else. It could be organization, it could be structure, it could be I don't know, it could be anything. A skill that you have that you take for granted. Take people in to see the process of having that skill. Like, I have a client who is such a logical thinker, so structured in the way she runs her business, and I look at that and I'm like, I love that about you, because I am not that, and I would love to see your processes more. That would be really interesting into me. So when you think about what skill you have, how can you leverage that? How can you show more of the world your processes of that? So if you are a creative, share those mid thoughts, those half done notes, or voice messages you've sent to yourself. Let people into the moment before the idea became content. So remember, I was saying, like, what's happening between the moment you get the idea and the time it's executed, and we're looking at what's happening. What are the blocks? Are we consuming too much content, using too much ChatGPT to take away the essence of the message, looking for how other people have said it, like on that content idea before. So actually bringing people into the idea before it actually turns into a carousel, before you've made the offer. Bring people on that journey. I have here a couple of things you can try. A rough sketch. This came about because one of my clients loves to draw, and she's incredible at like sketching different things. So I'm like, let's leverage that in your stories. Let's like leverage out as your brain dumping what's coming up for you, or if you're hosting a challenge and you want to tell people why they should join, show them on a piece of paper, like sketch that stuff out. a post-it brainstorm, if you create in that way and you have all your post-it notes and you stick them to a whiteboard, like let people in and see that messiness. We don't have to wait till we have the perfect graphic and the perfect carousel telling them why to join. This post-it note wall is going to speak to your ideal clients more than the polished carousel. A thought that I can't shake, like this might be an idea on your stories. I like this sort of stuff to be like in the moment on your stories where you're just like, I just can't get rid of this. So quite a lot I come onto my stories and I'd be like, literally brain dump, and I will say, I haven't even processed this yet, but I have to get it out. And it actually does help me kind of process where I'm going with it. Or maybe a voice note turn into a reel. So it's really shown, when people say show the messy behind the scenes, I want that to be really tangible for you on how you can actually do that. Your process is your proof of how good you are, like of your unique skill. The process is literally the bit that people want to see, and the bit that's going to resonate, and less, it's the embodiment of that unique skill that you have, because not everybody is a creative weirdo like you, or not everybody is as structured, as logical as you. Stop trying to make your brilliance behave. I love this. Stop trying to make them behave. Kind of leads into the same as number 2. So your magic is in the way you think, not how well you follow a strategy. It's the way you think. So instead of what's the hook, what's the format, really ask yourself, what do I want to say? Bringing it back to that, find the true line. What do I actually want to say here? Not really, what's the hook? What's the real point here? Lead with the idea and then shape it the delivery, not the other way around. We're letting the frameworks overrun the idea. And I feel like I need to go out with a bloody sign being like, rip up the templates, rip up the content formulas. You understand the strategy, you understand the buyer's journey, you understand the purpose, the intention, make them aware of the problems, the perspective shifts, you embodying the results of your clients, thought leadership. That's it, that is the strategy. We don't need to be so rigid in it. Lead with the ideas. And then the 4th code I have is the visibility connector. And I'm thinking of all my clients who fit into each one and how they work and what their gaps may be. So these type of creators has built trust by naming what people are thinking. Like being able to communicate a greater mission beyond just one content idea. Like there's a real mission, a real community behind your content. So they create value-driven, quite often long-form content. So YouTube, podcasts, that sort of stuff. Going live. You're amazing at trend-based content with depth, like so stitching a trend and sound and like adding your belief onto it, and like, you're literally built for visibility, virality, mass audience type of thing. So your best ideas come from the world around you. You do get inspired by what other people are putting out there. You're able to pull out things that you agree with, don't agree with, and you're able to turn that into content quite quickly. So you're a pattern spotter. You bring relevance with meaning. A grounded voice in a noisy feed. Which is what I love. So what the gap for you might be is like you're definitely relevant, relatable, totally respected, build this insane community, but are you being remembered for what you actually do, for your brilliance? Because I think it gets lost in the sauce, as people say. You be like, we're kind of diluting what your unique genius is, like why people should choose to work with you. So start asking if it would lead. So you could say something, I know you're overwhelmed, but here's 3 quick tips to reset today. But what we could actually do is, feeling stuck, here's the real reason your reset routines aren't working and what to do instead. So we are going into the real reason, and we can talk about, and that will lead into your offer. So you'd be like, here, where are we? Here's what to do instead. This is what my client done. This is the work we do inside X program, X offer. Come inside. Connect your content to your offer. And it's making sure that you're like zoning into the content type that you are before you do this, because this isn't for everybody. Like the creative is very different to the visibility connector. So everyone's talking about launching right now, no one's talking about how exhausted it can be when your offer isn't aligned, and then you could go on a riff about that. But what actually you could actually add on, that's why I teach my clients how to simplify their product suite before they scale. If that's what you need, DM me. So it's reminding you to bring it back to your offer, reminding people what your zone of genius is, what you actually help people with. Add proof to your presence. So you've gathered the audience. A lot of these visibility connectors have huge audiences. So you've gathered the audience, but do they know what it's like to work with you? Forgetting to show the incredible clients that you work with. I'm thinking of a client now. If I go onto our Instagram, like there's no social proof of the work that she's doing with our audience, with our clients. There's no, like, I'm not seeing the results you help people get. Do they feel the depth of your impact? So, you could be like, if you're feeling stuck, I've been there too. But actually, like my client E felt stuck juggling the 3 offers as well. We simplified her product suite and hit her biggest month with half the effort. If you want results like that, here's how I can help. Reminding people of the results you bring. And if you're like, oh, I'm not sure which one I am, think about a piece of content, and it's not even about what's done well. It's not even about how many views it got. It's actually about how you felt creating it. And you're like, oh, that was actually really fun. And like I said, you probably feel like, oh, I'm not entirely sure which one I am. Like I'm definitely like a bit of all, but I know Activator, creative would be like 2 dominant ones. I do like a bit of the depth as well, but Activator, creative would be my main one, so I can lean into that more. So what I wanted to do is we're going to take like 2 minutes and just have a little look through your content and see, can you find, like, straight away, if you're already like, oh no, I know which one I am just from what you've said, I want you to look through your content and rate yourself between 1 and 5 how much you're using your natural content style. So have a look through your content, and here I put some prompts here. So activators, am I speaking directly or holding back to sound nice? Am I post calling people to take action? Do I share what I really think, or am I playing it safe? If you're more of the depth, do I talk about what really matters to me? Do I help people feel something and know what to do next? Do I share client wins with meaning? If you're creative, am I trusting my unique ideas, or am I second guessing? Am I trying to squeeze too much into one post? Do I let people see how my brain works? And then if you're a connector, am I posting what I think or what's popular? Looking for views. Do people know how to work with me, and do I share the results and real life proof or just insights? So I'm going to mute myself for 2 minutes, have a little sip of water while you have a look through. I'll leave this on screen so you can refer back and just rate yourself. So I shall be back in a moment. Okay, we're back. How did we get on? Feel free to let me know in the chat how you got on. My captions keep moving different places. Actually, I don't know if I could do them here. Okay, we'll just keep going. Okay, so I want to remind you of your code, your clients, your message. You're going to tie all this together. So if you are an activator, what truth are you fired up to say louder? Like, there's a message underneath there that is screaming to come out, and it's because your people need to hear it to move. If you're the depth creator, or if that's your code, what story keeps coming up with clients, and what truth do you always help them see beneath it? What's a pattern you can spot all the time if you're creative? You know, like, you're just like, I just keep seeing this type of content. How can I flip this into something fresh? And if you're the connector, what are your people dealing with right now, and how can you speak to it with clear, grounded insight? So I want you to create content based on that prompt, like that idea, activator and creator. Yes, Jenny, we are vibing. And the thing is, right, this prompt is like what I was saying earlier. How can you take what your clients are telling you and turn it into content? And I'm going to show you some examples and what was coming up for clients at the time. So here we go. Because it is the best place to find your original content ideas. So this very first one, at what point do you finally feel like a leader? I've taken that and pulled it literally. They're the words that my client said. At what point do you finally feel like you're a leader? Because she didn't know how much of thought leadership content she should be putting in, because has she reached that milestone? So I'm going to bring that into my content. I'm not even mentioning my client in it. I'm just using the question that she asked as inspiration for content. So then I'm starting to dip into my power paragraph, my power person, my ideal client. You've got the £1 million ideas, you've got originality. So I'm talking to that creative. The impact you have on your clients deserves to be felt in your content. I'm talking to those who are craving more depth, not through some surface level I help my clients with a message that is sitting in your bones screaming to come out. You get wild genius ideas, but they feel too far-fetched to what you're used to seeing in the online space. Now, and as this work evolves, which I'm so excited to, like, I think I was saying it yesterday, those bits where it's feeling a bit sticky, like it's not hard, it's not working, but it's just feeling a bit sticky, they're the moments that you know you're ready for the next thing. And what I'm going to share with you at the very end of this session, my little surprise, is me walking that walk. And like, I haven't seen people do this. It feels like, oh, we're going to do it. But it's not like, because I'm that creative, like that creator mind, it's like, it feels scary because it's not what you're used to seeing in the online space. How can you take that and run with it and do it and be different? People want to see different. People are bored of seeing the same stuff over and over again. And like we were saying, like, we want people to be like, I can't wait to see what she's doing next. Like, I don't know what it is, but like, I can't wait. She keeps teasing these things. Like, I know people are like, what is coming? What is coming? You know, and it's fun and exciting. Okay, this next one. When you think bigger and you raise your standards and you lead with originality, of course it's going to trigger people. So this post came from a client saying, I don't want to say that. I don't want to hurt people's feelings. Obviously, we don't want to hurt people's feelings. Obviously, we don't want to like call people out in a spicy piece of content that's actually just going to make people feel bad. So what the lesson of this post was, and what I said to my client is, it's about empowering people. We're not talking to people that are like, you know, this whole victim thing. It's actually empowering people to be like, I see your problem and I'm going to show you how you can overcome that, how you can rise up to it. So, but when you are doing something different and you're like, I had a post that said, it was a voice note inside Momentum. So if you're in center stage, you'll be able to see that voice note. It's like, instead of thinking, who does she think she is? Know who the hell you are. And that is going to trigger people because not everybody knows who they are. And it's a mirror for what they're lacking within them, you know. So that was the basis around that conversation. And this one, I feel like if I was to look at them codes, like this is about the depth, you know, it is about bringing in that message. Like you're holding up a mirror for people who don't see it in themselves, so they're envious of you leading with your truth. I really think truth content is only going to get bigger. You know yourself, like you're not buying from the back of screenshots, big wins, hype energy. Like it's just not the vibe anymore. People are over it. There's a massive shift. People are craving truth. People want to see the moments in between the milestones. So you can share the wins, like absolutely celebrate the loudest in the room for sure. It's not about taking that away, but it's also showing the work in between. We show the wins and the work. So the next one, you thought make content about your audience meant only talking to them, which left you feeling like you're doing it wrong if you shared anything other than a big milestone or a win for social proof. So this came about because one of my amazing clients, she was creating like a transformation type of content, like where she was before, her backstory to where she is now, and it was beautiful. Like she's definitely a depth content code creator. And when she told me this idea that she had for the content, she was like, I'm just, you know, it's lovely, it's really good, I think it's really emotive. She's like, but I'm just trying to figure out how to make it about them. And I'm like, that you sharing that is about them. They get to see themselves in your journey. They get to name something that they probably haven't been able to put a name to before. So sometimes, obviously, like we want to bring our audience in it and what's of value for them, but it's not always like you are this, you are feeling that, you're experiencing that, you want to achieve this, your desire is. It's not always about that. You showing up, sharing your truth is about them. And then this last one, she wanted to shake up her content, and after 60 minutes with me, she literally squealed. I wanted to give that example more so of how you can just take a micro win, a micro moment, and turn it into content there and then. So this was a one-to-one call, and she told me what she wanted to achieve in the call, and literally by the end of it, she was like, oh, she was like so excited, couldn't wait to get off the call. Like this is one of the things that I love. Like it's when you have that clarity and you like can't wait to run with the offer, the content, the launch, whatever it is we're working on, that you're literally squealing at me like, yes, let's go. So let me just check the chat. Okay, so over the last 3 days, we have been in activation. I hope this has activated you now to be like, yes, I need to get deeper into my truth, bigger on my message, bring in more of my results, bring in more of what I'm actually doing, sharing the work, sharing the processes, Thrive Zone messaging, who you are, who they are, and who they're becoming because of your method. Creative activation, creating that space to allow the ideas to come in, unblocking the energetics that are keeping us stuck, and actually knowing what you want to be known for. Like getting really clear on that and identifying the gaps that is stopping you. In yesterday's session, I loved the what ifs. Like, what if I had a waiting list? What if 50 people signed up? What if I hit 5-figure months or 5K months, whatever it may be? And then we're like, well, why can't I do that? Why not? So it's turning the what ifs, like, what if I did actually do this, to why not? And then we can say, well, what action do I need to take? So you could say, what if I sold every spot in my mastermind, right, as a dream bubble? And then you say, well, why not? Why do I not believe I can't do that? And when you start to list out the reasons why not, I don't have a big enough audience. Okay, what can I do about that? Nurture the ones you do have is the answer to that. So taking the what if, the why not, action steps. Every time a doubt comes up in your mind, when you're like, oh, my target is to get 20 people into this offer, or whatever it may be, and you're like doubting yourself, ask yourself, why not? Why don't I 100% believe I can do this? And then when you write out those reasons, you can look back and be like, oh, well, what's the action step to overcome that? And that's the mindset work I work with clients. It's not like, oh, you know, some like pep talk, just post the content, just trial and test. No, let's take the action steps. Let's identify those gaps and take the action steps. Let's get you fired up about what you're putting out there in the first place. Make sure it's right for you. Make sure it's deep rooted in who you are. Lead with your original content code. Dive more into that. How can I take people into how I create best? Let that be your signature. It doesn't mean every piece of content has to come from that. Like, knowing what you know now about the 4 content codes, go check out my content. Especially on TikTok. Some of it is depth, some of it is creator, some of it is activating. But if you're trying to create content in a way that's against the grain for who you are and what your message is, it's not landing. If you're trying to have this like activation, let's go, let's hype it up, blah, 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 but actually your depth, you're all about the depth. Or actually maybe you're all about the community, a big movement, but you're trying to hype up this message, but actually you could create a mission of a community and move that whole community with you. And it doesn't matter if you don't have that big community now, maybe that's what you want. Like in the creative activation session, we were talking with Katie about the brainstorming collective type of thing. Figure out what the mission is and get people on board of that mission. And that's when they move with you. Not because you're like, oh yay, this is incredible, everyone come. You know what I mean? Unless that is your energy. If that is your energy, put the conviction and the substance behind it. So we've spent the last 2 days unlocking clarity, unblocking your creativity, and discovering the content codes that reflects your real voice, not the boxed in version. So now you'll be able to go and sell with conviction. And this isn't, like I said, it's not just to sit here and take notes. It's like the action. We got to do the action. I don't know what's happened to my slide. I'm going to talk to you about legacy now. If you've heard of legacy before, I have introduced a new tier, which I'm so excited for. So this is just the beginning, okay? So these are some incredible results. And the biggest thing I want to share with you is, notice how many of them isn't really about money. I don't lead with money shots. I really don't. It's how people are feeling behind it. The most casual mastermind launch ever. This is from somebody who used to actually be ill during launches. I mean, there's potential to actually sell out for May super fast. Like, it's just that relaxed power. Got asked to do another masterclass, gave my fee without hesitation, accepted. It just is. It just is. The work I do is helping people feel so sure of who they are and what they bring to the table that all this anxiety and all this chase and all this hype is just not there. Obviously there's work. Obviously there's moments where we're not feeling as up there as we could be. Of course. What else have we got? 2 months before the course starts, someone in. 5 DMs landed in my inbox after posting solution. That's 3 definite sales on the higher price, 2 one-to-ones. Also want to say that every time you answer something, I feel like, yay, I found my coach. Made a retreat sale from a random person, paid in full. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's clarity. It's relaxed power. That's what legacy is about. Because the content alone won't create the momentum that you want. This was the warm-up. Legacy is the main act. I love how I brought in the whole center stage motif around that. So this is for online business coaches, service providers, creatives who are ready to lead louder in the sense that makes sense for you, not louder is in hype, launch bolder, and sell signature offers that's rooted in originality. So we really do use a blend of strategy, energetics, and creative execution to activate your voice. These creative activation sessions, we have one of those a month. So once a month we're purposely designing space to allow our ideas come up, but not only that, to actually hold their identity, because you could have the best strategy in the world. If your body and your mind doesn't believe in that, you're not going to hit those high targets that you're setting for yourself. So what people are walking away with, a product suite built around actually your brilliance. Even if you have a product suite now, it's about refining it and how to scale it. So one of my clients at the moment, she is just refining it. There's a few changes she's making to it to make it suit her energy and leveraging her genius. Because she was trying to cover so many different things. I'm like, let's hone in on that. Let's take away some things that you've outgrown, because she's had the group program for a couple of years, It's always been full, it's on evergreen, but we're changing how it's done. Content that you become known for and paid for. Sales systems that feel powerful, and the confidence to lead like the industry leader you are. So strategy meets soul. This is a home space. It's not like you come in, it's a 6-month program. You can stay after the 6 months or you can move on, but it's an ongoing thing. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever created in my life. So the 4 areas: create legacy offers, legacy content, activation, and high ticket sales. It's a different kind of room though. It's for women who lead with originality, who don't want to sound like everybody else on the internet, where we're really leveraging innovation. Because I know the women coming in here have so many ideas, so many things they want to do, and it's about getting the clarity and the structure and the execution. So it's coaching that sees your whole self. Like, I'm not just sitting there talking about, well, what's the next launch? A business that finally feels like yours. So it's, see this one here, empowered, coming together, meaningful and authentic, inspired again, just, it's a room that really activates. I probably should have called it activates. Okay, so some of the results that have come in. This screenshot here I love. Why do I feel so confident and creative today? It's like there's energy sparking. I can feel it on my skin, on my scalp. Like, you can just feel that energy from me. So we've 7 times our investment, 553% increase in sales. So Legacy has only come out this year, but I have been running programs for quite a few years now, and it's one of my favorite things is like the people that come in, they're not waiting to be handed a template. They're waiting for clarity. And when that clarity comes, there's no slowing you down. You're like, the next day you have the sales page ready. Like, it's that kind of space. I absolutely love it. So what's inside? We have bi-weekly calls. So every second week we're having a hot seat call. 1-to-1 session with me, personalized action plan. Creative activations once a month. We have our Legacy Lounge, which is a community support on Telegram. Content feedbacks and audits. Live access to the legacy trainings, which are like, honestly, they're all brand new. So 2025 onwards, nothing has been like moved over from another program, because the online industry has shifted and it's continuing to shift, and the trainings will be added to as we go as well. Bonuses for the core access. All my programs, so you're actually getting social media mastery as well. So maybe you're like, I actually don't have the foundations in place. I don't have like the buyer journey strategy. I don't fully understand my ideal client. You're getting access to social media mastery, so you can watch that as well. We also bring in guest experts, and we're going to be doing some legacy sprints. So we have like these challenges, some sales weeks, we're having like sales challenges, and we also have VIP upgrades. I'm also given a center stage bonus worth over £400. So we have the 6 months access, which is going to be $444 per month, but with the center stage bonus, it's $377 per month. $377. This expires on Monday evening, and it will go back up to $444. So $444 for 6 months. I mean, like I said, you have 1-to-1 action plan, training portal, hot seats every 2 weeks, support in Telegram, activation, Reiki, tailored feedback, audits. And then the VIP is everything in the core, but also you'll get monthly 1-to-1 strategy plans, personalized action maps. So we're literally mapping out each different area of your business, your product suite, your launch plans, your content. Like, we go through your personal branding, your messaging in these maps. And then we also have 1-to-1 Telegram support as well. There's only 3 spots available, and I am going to put the discount on this as well. So it'll be $638 until Monday, but I only have 3 spaces available for that one. So, bonus surprise. If you are thinking about coming into Legacy, you can use the checkout code STAGE. But if you want to actually, let me put it in the chat. If you want to DM me to have a chat about, to make sure this is right for you, that's absolutely no problem. DM me on Instagram. You could just say Legacy, or you could just say hey, whatever you want. Or if you prefer a call, I'm more than happy to jump on a call. So this bonus ends Monday, so I have cleared some time Monday daytime to have some calls with people if you want to jump on a 15-minute call and just make sure it's for you, or we can just chat through voice note, text on Instagram DMs. But what I have been teasing this whole time, honestly, I'm so excited. Okay, so I'm about to share something the internet has never heard before, and it's actually the untold truth. Like I said, people want to hear the truth, and I'm gonna step up and be the first one to fucking say it. So when I first came into the online industry with like 16 years business experience, my biggest setback was me. Not what I knew, not what I didn't know, not what coach I had, not what strategy I was following. My biggest setback was me and how I viewed myself. And I kept searching for the next thing to get me where I wanted to be. So this is for you, and this is free. You don't fit into a box. You don't want to fit into the box. Maybe some I didn't realize I didn't want to fit into a box for a little while, but so I don't know, you might not want to fit in the box, but you definitely don't fit in the box. You have more ideas that you don't want to fit into what you should be doing. We're going unconventional here. Your work goes beyond what your title is. Like, you're like, I say I'm a business strategist, but it's so much more than that. Allow me to introduce one of the hardest things I've ever gone through. Never forget who you are. I wasn't being seen. When those challenges come, fire in my belly. I hope that played, because the music played, because sometimes it doesn't share the sound. But basically, I have created a 3-part docu-series that tells the truth, and the intention behind it is for you to hopefully see yourself in my story and to see the value in what you bring, and how you might be dimming down your light because of, like I said, how you see yourself. And I'm sharing stories that have shaped the business owner I am. And it's, like I said, it's the miles, it's the moments in between the milestones, it's the pivots I've had to make, it's honestly, I'm so excited to share it, but I'm also so excited to hear what people take from it, because I've never seen anyone do it this way, to get their story out there for other people to like take lessons from. So I'm going to share the link to it in the Telegram. So what I'm going to do is, because it's not public yet, I'm not going to release it to the public till next week, but what I would love you to do is, when you watch it, DM me your takeaway, what you thought of it, like whatever, hype me up, whatever you need. And I am going to give some content audits in return, because I want this to like go big. I feel like everyone needs to watch this. Everyone, especially anyone who has come from a successful offline business or a career or something, and you're now in a place online where you're like not owning how bloody brilliant you are at what you do. And this all ties into legacy. Everything is shaped around legacy, because so many of my clients have had success before the online space, and the online space has like actually diluted how insane they are. And now my mission is to bring that back. That is my mission. And this is something that has been brewing in me since last year. And then early at the start of this year, I was like so clear on where I'm going, and kind of teased a little bit that yesterday in the moment when I shared that voice note. Was like, I'm okay that I don't have as many signups as I used to get, because I know where I'm going. My mission is to make people see and remember and remind themselves of how insane they are at what they're doing, and not like, so many times I've stopped myself from celebrating something because it wasn't as high as the next person got it. And that's what I meant by yesterday. Like, I don't care that 60 odd people signed up. Like, when I used to get like whatever, 200 or whatever. Like, I honestly, I'm not just saying it from an ego point. Literally, my message is so clear. My mission is so clear, to remind you how insane you are, what you do, get clarity on where you want to go with that, and how we can, and then the strategy comes. Okay, well, let's turn this into an offer. This is how we should launch. This is the content. This is the messaging. And that's what legacy does. But I want this docu-series, Activated, do you like the name? Activated is going to share those lessons for you through my story, the real truth, like no holdbacks. There's stuff in there that I've never said out loud, like I'm so excited. So I hope you enjoyed the last 3 days. The catch up of the trainings will be available until next Friday, so a week. The discount code for Legacy lasts until Monday. Use the code STAGE. You're getting 15% off, saving nearly I think it's just over £400. So you can work with me from $377 a month for 6 months. Oh God, I'm just like so passionate. I feel it in my bones. This is what it looks like to feel it in your bones. You're just like, I'm so excited to get this message out, to lead with the truth, to show the in-betweens, not just the fancy highlight reel. I'm so excited. I will catch yous all. I'll catch yous all again sometimes. Okay, thank you so much for joining.